Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going to be talking about the rise and fall of the Disney Renaissance. So if you don't know, the Disney Renaissance was the time period between 1989 to 1999 when Disney was doing well at the box office. So let's talk about it, shall we? Hey guys, I know you can't see me very well, but I'm editing this right now. I've just finished filming this, and I thought I'll add in, I'm so sorry if you can hear snoring, it's my dog. So if you can hear that in the video, that's what you can hear. I can't help it, I've got to have the dog tonight. So yes, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. So before we talk about the Renaissance, we're going to talk about earlier on Disney. So in December 1966, Walt Disney died at age 65 years old, and the company was left to his brother, Roy Disney. But then in 1971, he passed away. And then it was left to his nephew, Roy E. Disney. So during the 1970s and the 1980s, Disney wasn't doing well at the box office. They weren't as good as they used to be. This all changed when Jeffrey Katzenberg became the chairman of the Walt Disney Company. Things changed for Disney for the better. And there was one film in particular that did well at the box office and started the Disney Renaissance era. And that was The Little Mermaid in 1989. So The Little Mermaid was the first princess movie in over 30 years after Sleeping Beauty's Aurora. Now, how did this movie do well at the box office? Well, first of all, it was thanks to a man named Howard Ashman, who not only co-directed the movie and wrote the movie, but he wrote the songs with his longtime composer, Alan Menken. Both of them together worked on Broadway musicals. Now, again, Little Mermaid could have been a flop, so they were trying everything they could possibly can to keep Disney afloat. And as you can tell by these days, Disney is more popular than ever. It was all thanks to what happened in the late 80s and all through the 90s. So not only was Howard Ashman the co-director / writer of the film and also the songwriter for the film, he would coach both Jodie Benson and Pat Carroll, the voice of Ursula and Ariel, to perform their songs. So Part of Your World and Poor Unfortunate Souls. In fact, I'll play this clip.
Here, when's it my turn? Wouldn't I love that stuff? Really,
Am I still a little too loud?
You're great.
Oh, better that time?
You're great,
better.
but you are.
Okay.
It gets a little bright in here. Like, what would I give if I could live out of these waters? The intensity is better than. What would I give is better than noise. Yeah, but they're not doing FM. It's inner intensity.
So even more, not as singy, basically.
He was so good at what he was talking about. He knew what he was talking about. He coached both Jodie Benson and Pat Carroll. And then the movie did well at the box office. In fact, it won so many Oscars that particular year in 1990.
From The Little Mermaid, Kiss the Girl, music by Alan Menken, lyric by Howard Ashman.
And from The Little Mermaid, Under the Sea, music by Alan Menken, lyric by Howard Ashman. And the Oscar goes to Alan Menken and Howard Ashman for Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid.
Well, thank yous. At Disney, to Jeff Katzenberg, Peter Schneider, to Sam Wright, who sang the song, all the words. Mostly, though, to John Musker and Ron Clements, whose movie Little Mermaid really is. At William Morris, there's Don Astlin, Mike Peretzian, and my beloved Esther Sherman. And at home, there's my mom, there's my sister, there's Nancy and Bill. I feel really lucky. Thank you.
Thanks to the musical team that worked on the songs, Robbie Merkin, Thomas Pazzatieri, and Jack Redford in particular. Thank you, and thank you to the...
So during this time in the early 90s, Disney makes another two films, in fact. Disney was scheduling to have a movie released every year of the 90s. So the next one was The Rescuers Down Under, which was a sequel to the Rescuers movie in 1977. So I don't know why they chose this one to be the first, but this one was the first one to use what Disney uses now. So this movie is very special to Disney because it was the first one to use the computer animation known as CAP. So because of the Rescuers Down Under and with it using caps, Disney was able to continue using caps throughout the 90s, 2000s, and now today, which is what every animation company uses these days. So the next movie to come out was Beauty and the Beast in 1991. Beauty and the Beast was another movie that Howard Ashman and Alan Menken both were involved with at the beginning. So at the beginning, this film was in fact in the make in the 1950s and the 1940s, but Walt Disney himself couldn't figure out the way to tell the story. Howard solved this problem by saying it was the Beast who had the problem. And there was, in fact, this movie, when they came back to it in the late 80s, the Walt Disney Company wasn't actually, they weren't actually planning for this movie to be a musical. After The Little Mermaid did well at the box office, they decided to bring Howard Ashman and Alan Menken onto making this movie, to make it a musical like they did with Little Mermaid a few years prior. So it was actually Howard Ashman's idea to have Broadway actors to be involved with the movie. So Howard Ashman got like Paige O'Hara, Robbie Benson, Jerry Orbach, Angela Lansbury, who are all Broadway actors. And this movie it broke records for Disney, not as much as Lion King a few years later, but it did break the record for an animated movie at the Oscars. So it was the first animated feature film to be nominated for Best Picture. First ever animated feature. You can think about all the ones that Disney's done before that, even the ones that Walt Disney was on at the time, none of them won Best Picture until 1991's Beauty and the Beast. Even though Howard Ashman was involved with the making of Beauty and the Beast, he was the songwriter for the film. He didn't actually co-direct it this time, like he did with Ron Clements and John Musker on The Little Mermaid. However, he actually did not want to work on Beauty and the Beast. Heart set on another project that Disney was working on, Aladdin, which came out a year after Beauty and the Beast in 1991. So when they got Howard Ashman on board with Beauty and the Beast, he also wrote the songs for Aladdin. He wrote 3 songs that ended up in the movie Aladdin. However, even though Howard Ashman was doing a lot for the company at the time with Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, which was nominated for Best Picture, he sadly didn't live to see the movie. He didn't live to see the Oscars in 1992, where Beauty and the Beast won awards.
From Beauty and the Beast, Belle, music by Alan Menken, lyric by Howard Ashman.
From Beauty and the Beast, Be Our Guest, music by Alan Menken, lyric by Howard Ashman.
The Oscar goes to Alan Menken and Howard Ashman for Beauty and the Beast.
On behalf of Howard, I know if he were here, he'd want to thank Angela Lansbury for her incomparable performance of the song in the movie as Mrs. Potts, and also Celine Dion and Peebo Bryson for their performance. Also thanks to Walter A. and Robbie Buchanan for their work on the single. And accepting for Howard will be Bill Lauk.
Thanks, Alan. Howard and I shared a home and a life together, and I'm very happy and very proud to accept this for him. But it is bittersweet. This is the first Academy Award given to someone we've lost to AIDS. In working on Beauty and the Beast, Howard faced incredible personal challenges, but always gave his best. And what made that possible was an atmosphere of understanding, love, and support.
So during the making of The Little Mermaid, Howard Ashman went up to Alan Menken and told him that he had AIDS, which was a big crisis at the time. I'm not going to go into it. Over the course of the next few years, Howard Ashman was dying of AIDS. He became very ill and he was hospitalised in 1991. He sadly died March 1991, before Beauty and the Beast was released. Ashman passed away and it again left the company at a stop because, like I said before, he was working on Aladdin at the time, and Aladdin was still in the works for another like 9 months or so, and there were still major things that had to be done with the movie Aladdin. So they got Tim Rice on board to write the songs because Howard Ashman only wrote 3 that ended up in the film. I don't know how many more that he wrote for the film. So they got Tim Rice to write the songs with Alan Menken. In fact, one of the songs that they wrote together was A Whole New World. That song was not written by Howard Ashman. It was written by Tim Rice and composed by Alan Menken. So speaking of Tim Rice was working on another famous Disney movie at the time, which was The Lion King, which was at the time known as The King of the Jungle. And it was directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. And animators went to Kenya to study the movements of animals in Africa and the African wildlife for the film and that's where they learned a lot from the film. I mean, if you've seen The Lion King, you would know from the start to finish, it's like you're in freaking Africa, it's freaking self. It is so, like, well done. So they brought on Tim Rice and Elton John to write the songs, and let's not forget about Elton John's song, Can You Feel Love Tonight? I love his version of Can You Feel Love Tonight. I love the movie's version as well. And I love even the live actions version. But you've got to give credit to the people that wrote the song. So let's talk about the CAPS again, the computer animation, which at the time, Pixar, which was a different company at the time, was working on their first film, Toy Story. And Toy Story broke records for being the first animated film to use the computer animation, which Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, all things iPads, iPhones, you name it, he helped curate, he helped Disney. If you didn't know that, then there you go. So Lion King came out and it won a lot of awards. Not only that, but it was the highest grossing animated feature film for 1994, and it was the most popular Disney film until Frozen nearly 20 years later.
Many thanks to everyone at Disney, and in particular, as it's a musical thing, Mr. Hans Zimmer. I'd also like to thank Dennis Compton, a childhood hero of mine. Over to Elton.
Thank you very much. This is such an exciting night. I'd like to thank the members of the Academy for this incredible honor, to Hans Zimmer, who did a wonderful job with the songs, to everybody at Disney, to my parents who are here tonight, to David, to John Reed, to my friends in Utah, and to everyone who worked on this most enjoyable project. This is an incredible honor for me. I'd like to dedicate this award to my grandmother, Ivy Sewell. She died last week, and she was the one that sat me down at the piano when I was 3 and made me play. So I'm accepting this.
So a lot of Disney's animators were working on Pocahontas, and the B team was left with The Lion King, which Disney didn't think would do well at the box office. But spoiler alert, guess which one won? Guess which one got more talk, popularity? And so the songs for Pocahontas was written by Steven Schwartz and composed by Alan Menken, which we previously talked about. And Steven Schwartz is big also. What is going on with my iPad's there and it just fell over. He's also a big songwriter, he was a big deal. And to work with Alan Menken, I mean, slap them both together, not literally, but you know what I mean, on a film, you've got a good film. Because it's not real, you know, to the real story of Pocahontas that you learn in school. So the next films I'm going to be talking about, I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is the downfall of Disney. So in 1996, another Disney movie came out, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This movie was something that Disney would not do, and it was another famous Disney movie that was really dark in the 80s was The Black Cauldron, and that movie nearly shut down the whole entire company. This movie cost Disney a lot of money, not only to make, but also a lot of angry parents coming at Disney saying their child had nightmares. The songs were written by Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, and it was a film like no other. Like, people liked it. Don't get me wrong, there was people that hated this movie as well, didn't think it was Disney enough, but it worked. The songs were brilliant. The next three movies, Hercules, Mulan and Tarzan, did do well at the box office, but they weren't as successful as movies like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. It was bringing the company down. It's Lion King. There's still lovers out here today. Don't get me wrong, there's still lovers for those movies as well, but there's more lovers for movies like Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. But these movies were bringing Disney down. But there was issues with these movies that dropped Disney down significantly. So that's when Tarzan came out. So Tarzan was directed by Chris Buck, who also directed the movie Frozen and Frozen 2 later on. And Tarzan was a good film. A lot of people liked it. Phil Collins did the score. Phil Collins wrote the music. But what a lot of people don't like about this film is that it's not really Disney. Phil Collins sings all the songs in the film. He sings the majority of the time in this movie. Why? I don't know, because they're good, cracking good songs. I'm not dishing Tarzan in any way, shape or form. I'm just pointing it out to you guys. Tarzan, don't get me wrong, did do well at the box office, but it was bringing the company down. So what ended the Disney Renaissance? Why did it not continue? And the reason being, Disney stopped being Disney. Like, you started off great in the Disney Renaissance with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, but then it had its downfall with movies like Pocahontas and Tarzan and Hercules, which were bringing the movies down. When not saying that those movies are hated, and I don't hate those movies in any way, shape or form before I get those comments, but what was really bringing the company down was companies like DreamWorks. So DreamWorks came out with Shrek in 2001, and Pixar again was coming out with movies like Finding Nemo in 2003, and with Toy Story in 1995. DreamWorks, for instance, was using computer animation and using doing stories, like, I don't know, like telling stories, which Disney does anyway, and they still did in the 2000s, but they didn't know how to Disney anymore. Disney, for some reason, went from like movies like Little Mermaid, where they were singing, dancing, telling stories at the same time, and then movies like Tarzan, where there's still stories, like it's still telling a story, but it's all Phil Collins singing. Nothing wrong with Phil Collins, don't come at me in the comments, but it's not Disney, you know. Now uses computer animation and stop doing like the musical like that they were doing in the 90s, and it was bringing Disney down. It was slowly bringing it down. And yeah, if you want me to follow on that, like in a part 2, how Disney went from that in the early 2000s to what they're doing now with movies like Frozen, where they're big and successful. Comment down below. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe down below. And let me know what your favourite Disney Renaissance film is. Mine is Beauty and the Beast or Lion King. But of course, they're all brilliant in their own little way. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.